You're listening to the Show We Go Baseball podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 40 of To the Show We Go, featuring Ed Hand and myself, Andrew Parker. We have our second AFL squad member from the Red Sox here with us post-AFL. He's another arm in the Red Sox system. We have Christopher Troye. Christopher, you've had a short offseason, obviously getting back from the AFL. What have you been up to since you've been back from Arizona?
Yeah, guys. Really a pleasure to be here. Thanks again for having me on. I know we were joking about it a little bit before, but I know we tried to get an episode in after what I didn't know before when I scheduled it, but after a pretty rough outing in the fall league when I gave up 5 earned without recording it out. So happy we could circle back and redo it.
We're happy to have you, and I just want to say you said another arm. That I don't think Christopher Troye is just another arm in the Red Sox system. I think you're a lot more than that.
I appreciate that, but no, I mean off season's been good. Been spending some quality time with my friends and family, much needed. I mean, from February 5th to November 11th, I was on the East Coast, pretty much up and down the entire coast. From Florida to Greenville, South Carolina to Portland, Maine, and everywhere in between. So it's been good to be back on the West Coast. You know, I'm a West Coast guy through and through, probably just because I was born here, but truly believe the West Coast is the best coast.
What's your impression of the East Coast? Like, what's how is it different than how is the East Coast different than the West Coast in your experience?
East Coast is old, dude. It's old. It's I mean, for better and for worse, right? For pros and cons, like it's historic. It's got a lot of cool history behind it. You know, obviously the beaches, the Atlantic's a little bit warmer than the Pacific. But no, I don't know, man. The West Coast is home to me. You guys don't have in and out in the East Coast, some things like that. But no, this is just where I grew up. So it feels like home. I do like the East Coast, but obviously just West Coast guy. But since being in the off season, man, it's just really been a time for me to refocus on my off-field endeavors, kind of retrench, if you will. That's what you guys can probably see my guys behind me cranking
in the lab right now.
Yeah, dude, this is you guys should see the setup I'm calling you from right now. I got 3 screens open and everything else in between. So just having fun, spending quality time with relationships that I really care about, that I maybe feel like it gets neglected throughout the course of the season, and been training, been working out, ready to start throwing next week. Next week is the start of my throwing program, so had a couple weeks off of throwing when it's all said and done, and we'll be ramping right back up.
Does your arm feel different when you take like even a couple of weeks? Because you've got to have your routine during the season. You had a long season. You were pitching Arizona Fall League. How does your arm feel now in comparison to when you got done with the AFL?
You know, I mean, it feels good. I feel like you get to a point where it's always hurting. So it's just like you kind of forget what good feels like, you know? Like you don't know what a fresh arm really feels like. And obviously with only a 2-week shutdown this year, things are gonna be a little bit different for me. So this is uncharted territory for me in terms of really throwing year round. Obviously a 2-week shutdown with a 2-week deload before the shutdown. A little bit different, but I really trust the pitching guys that we have in the Red Sox org. You know, I feel like they've gotten me this far, so just going to keep trusting them. Right now, I mean, my arm feels good, but it's hard to say. It's really hard to say what it feels like without throwing, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I did want to kind of talk about with the AFL now that you're all wrapped up, and we didn't really get a chance to talk about it too much when we last talked to you. Obviously, you had the bad outing, but now that you're finished and wrapped up with it, what was the experience like for you?
It was awesome, man. I don't know if you guys saw the thread that I wrote about the fall stars, but it was really that one outing that kept me out of the game. If you look, I threw 8 2/3 innings out there, and obviously didn't record now with those 5 earned, but I gave up 6 earned all of fall. So really feel like I did well from a performance, from a results perspective in the fall league. Strikeouts were a little bit low. Velo was a little bit low, but it is what it is. End of the season, you're just out there trying to compete, and I think I did a good job of that. So, in terms of like what I'm reflecting on in the fall league, the big takeaway for me is that still not to give too much credit to hitters. Like hitting's hard, and I was facing some of the best minor league prospects in the game in the league, and it was I really feel like I dominated for the other, I don't know how many appearances I had, but for the other 7 or 8 appearances, really felt like I was dominant and continued to just stay the course.
How did you? What did you do to bounce back from that one outing? What did you do the next time? Because you were really good the rest of the season. What did you do to kind of recenter yourself and remind yourself of who you are?
I mean, you just take it in stride. You get hit and you just keep going, right? You can't push too much stock into it. For me, I probably think that I've been told and probably identify more as a thinker. So learning how to turn the thoughts off on the mound has been where most of my progress has come from, I would say. Just learning how to compete, get external, those sorts of things. But in terms of like how do you bounce back from a bad outing, in my opinion, it's the same way you bounce back from a good outing, and it's the same way you bounce back from an okay outing, right? Like you have the outing, it is what it is. You try to look at it objectively, take away what you can take away from it. And sometimes you just can't take anything away from it. So like if I look at that outing, right, like what was my takeaway? Probably didn't have one. Probably just, for me, it was just like, okay, flush it on to the next. My work doesn't change tomorrow. I don't try harder. I don't do more throws. I don't work out harder, which is probably the more natural response for me, after an outing like that, like probably just get in the weight room and just destroy my body, just to let off some steam. But obviously you can't do that because you got to get ready for the next one. So what did I do to flush it, move on? I don't know, man. You just take it in stride and you just keep going.
I will say to comment on that, we had another pitcher that Portland faced this year. We had Nick Kuzia, who was pitching in Hartford this past year.
Yeah.
And he had the worst outing of his career against Portland. I think it was that game you guys scored like 20 runs, I think, towards the end of the season. He gave up, I think, 7 earned, and he didn't record an out. And He was telling me, he's like, I couldn't go back out there because that was the end of his season. He's like, I couldn't go back out there and pitch. I had to end on that. And he's like, I kind of just threw it in the trash and just walked away from it. And it's like, I'd never think about it again. So we did ask him about it on the pod, and he was just like, yeah, this is one of those things he just forgets about completely. But
you guys are ruthless.
I'm kidding. He brought it up, right? It was one of those things like, it's like, hey, Nick, what was it like giving up 8 runs to Kyle Teal in the game over there? But
no, I'm messing around.
Yeah, he's a good guy though. I love talking pitching with.
I followed him on social media. He's got some good stuff. If you're into pitching mechanics, pitching drills, definitely give him a follow. I don't know his handle, but just look up KUZ pitching if you're listening.
Kuz pitching,
we'll go ahead and plug him. But yeah, no, he's I like his content, and it sounds like we think similarly of bad outings.
Yeah, so AJ Politi works out with him in the off seasons locally here, and Politi told me he's the guy that's going to become a pitching coach one day. That's like what he's going to do. So
let's go.
So speaking of your AFL crew, we had Zach Penrod on the show last week, and I think Zach was an awesome guy. He's one of the guys that once we got to talk to him, it was kind of cool to like find things out about him because like he brand new to the organization this past year.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was ready for your energy He was your crew there with Hickey and Wyatt Olds. Like that entire crew seemed like it was a fun time. The famous Toy Story costumes and everything. So what was it like, I guess, being around that group of guys from the Red Sox and the AFL?
Penny Rodaway. No, that's what I've been calling them. But no, dude, it was my first time meeting him, and I'd heard a little bit about him. One of my best friends, his name is McLean O'Connor. He was a shortstop for me at Santa Barbara. Work out of Platinum Fitness together. He's been playing independent league baseball. He was playing with Penrod in the season. So when Penrod got picked up, obviously got a little bit of a scouting report from my buddy McLean. But dude, Penrod's an absolute beast. He's a big dude, thick-bodied, throws cheese, puts up weight in the weight room. But dude, the Folly crew was fun. It was just a good time, and especially you go on Snapchat and Instagram and you see everyone who's home and enjoying being home, and we're still playing baseball. Feel fortunate to be able to do that, but to be able to do it with the crew that we did it was just a good time, man. Can't say too much about it.
Did you get to explore like around Scottsdale and Glendale, those areas, or was it like all baseball all the time for you?
No, dude. We went and played. There's where the Red Sox set us up. Was a pretty sweet setup, dude. It was right next to Arizona Cardinals Stadium in Glendale.
Nice.
There's a little entertainment district right across the street from us, literally right across the street. So played Topgolf, bunch of restaurants around there. Explored that area a little bit. Halloween, you may have heard, the Glendale Desert Dogs did it big. Kevin Parada got a party bus for the boys and took us took us to Old Town and had a good night out in Old Town. But no, dude, it was a blast. We got to explore Arizona. We got to live the Arizona life,
I miss it out there. I went to Arizona State for a bit. I lived out there for a bit, and it's you can't beat it, especially that time of year. You can't beat that weather.
Oh yeah, it was incredible.
Well, you're saying that to him, and he's a California guy.
I know.
So here it's like 20 degrees, man. It's a little different from Portland and New England. I'm sure. So
you guys didn't go to the beach yesterday?
No, I got to go. I was in Aruba a couple of weeks ago. That was pretty cool.
Oh, for the honeymoon. How was that, dude?
Yeah, no, that was awesome. I was like reading into like the baseball leagues and stuff there. I didn't realize there were like a couple of guys. There's like guys other than Xander Bogaerts from there that play.
Really?
It's like it's a thing there, Caracal and all that. Like it's a good baseball culture.
Let's go. And I know I DM'd it to you, but I guess I'll say it face to face. Congratulations on the wedding, man.
Oh, thank you. Hell yeah!
What a lucky lady. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
Oh, I'm gonna say like you have to actually listen to this episode, Allie.
Hey, so let me guess, you started growing the beard out after the wedding?
Yeah, it's funny. I was gonna shave before that, and it looked really good. I got like a haircut. And they were like, "Well, do you want us to do this too?" I was like, "No, keep it." And I've kept it since.
Let's go. And now you got the ring on it, so she can't say one way or the other about it.
Exactly. She can't be like, "No, I don't like that." It's like, well, too bad.
That's awesome, man. That's hilarious.
I can't stop like your background right now. Your guys are just like absolutely cooking. So is that like, can you walk us? Is that your team back there? Like, what is going on? I know you kind of mentioned it earlier, but I am curious.
Yeah. Let's see. This is reversed. Jared Yamasaki and Kevin Chandler right there. Two of my best friends, man. Played baseball at Santa Barbara with K Chan. He kind of took me under his wing. When I first showed up there, he's a couple of years older than me, so showed me the ropes. Has been a good mentor for me, and we always joke, but there's some truth to it. I really feel like he's been one of my best pitching coaches. Like he's known me my entire pitching career. He saw the transition at Santa Barbara from catching, and so he's seen me from when I started to where I am. And when it comes to like mentality, pitch sequencing, really like the mental game, the real mental side of pitching, he's been my mental pitching coach, if you will. And then Jared, they grew up across the street from each other in Valencia, California, and now we just we've got a couple business endeavors together. One of them is called Vigilant. Vigilant is building portable suppression robots in the event of wildfires in order to protect homes from burning down. So that's one of the projects we're working on. And then, I've got some individual endeavors, but that's the one that we're really all working on. Between that and we started a little bit of a fund for multifamily real estate investing, so we work on that together as well. But between those two endeavors, I mean, it keeps us pretty busy.
You have so many different you know so many different things about so many different things. It's kind of how do you keep track of all of this? Like, how do you, like, with between the baseball and like all of the other stuff, like you've got like such an active social media presence, you're doing all these different podcasts. Like, how do you keep track of all of the different projects?
A good team. Yeah, I mean, I've got I don't know. Maybe if we've had an email chain or something, you probably see Fauna. Fauna is my
I remember
my assistant. Fauna does all my scheduling, manages my calendar. Really just makes it easy for me to go from one thing to the next, and then as long as you prioritize, then it's like, okay, what are you going to fill up the other time with? I feel like there's a point with pitching specifically that there's a point of diminishing returns. Like you don't get one throw better for every one throw that you make.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just throw as much as you want to get as much as you want better. Like there's an element of health and balancing and recovering and bouncing back and then the nutrition, the diet, the sleep, right? So there's all these things that in my mind it's almost like you can't overdo it. And I know that gets probably thrown around too much, in my opinion. I think most people probably use that as an excuse as to why they're not doing more. But for the few people that are doing absolutely everything that they can, I think that there's a point of diminishing returns. And so with pitching with baseball, there's definitely that point of diminishing returns. And then it's like, okay, well, what do you fill your time up with when you're not doing that? Is it video games? Is it doom scrolling on social media? I don't know. But that's a lie. I do know. I see I see my teammates. I see what they're doing. And I'm not to say that's right or wrong. It's just I don't know. I was just born different.
Right. It's like what's going to work for you, and
exactly
what's going to work for other people. Like there's a guy, there's like a AA lefty there who's really into RuneScape, and everybody would give him shit about playing RuneScape. But it's that's his thing. If that's what you like to do, that's what you like to do.
Right. And that's exactly how I feel about the business endeavors that I'm working on as well. So
you mentioned in the episode that we didn't put up, there was something that I think about, and that was that you said that you're always, you never know when something is going to happen with inspiration, and it kind of has to come organically. So you always have a pen and you always have something to write with. What's inspired you recently? What's been something that's been a source of inspiration for you?
That's an incredible question. That's why they pay you the big bucks. I will say that there's probably two things. The first thing is seeing my 15-year-old brother. I still call him my baby brother. I've got two brothers. He's the youngest of four. I've got an older sister. And he's a freshman in high school. He started playing basketball at 8th grade, made his 8th grade team, rode the bench, didn't really play, didn't really get minutes. And then went to high school where I went to high school, where all my siblings went to high school, Heritage High School, Bentwood, California. And historically, really, really, really talented sports teams. Really, every sport's has been good. And seeing the work that he put in, knowing that he was probably the last man off the bench his 8th grade year, going to a bigger pond and making the freshman team, and then starting in the opening day, the opening game, if you will, the season opener, and scoring his first 3-point shot and the first points of the season for the club against our crosstown rival. So to see that transition to get to where he is at right now, I mean, it's only pushing me to go further, go harder, go longer. That's one thing. The second thing that's been inspiring me has been what I'm doing with game used giveaways. And, it started off very, I'll put it plainly, like I had no idea what I was doing. Still don't. We've only done 2 giveaways, but I just saw all the gear. Like I've noticed every time that I change locations, whether that's from spring training going to affiliate, or from getting called up from an affiliate to another affiliate, or from affiliate to Florida, back from Portland to Florida to Arizona, and then back from Arizona to home. Like there's so many transition periods for us in our profession. Which is good because it keeps things fresh, and you can't get too comfortable. Just when you get comfortable, it's time to leave. So really what that's turned into, and the amount of positive feedback that I've gotten from fans on that endeavor has been a source of inspiration, if you will.
And you partnered up with a few of your Red Sox teammates, and I know Blaze Jordan is heavily involved with that, and I think I may even saw Roman Anthony as well. How much has that meant to you with their support when you started this up?
It means the world, man. I mean, Roman Anthony. So I'll give you guys I'll give the listeners a little context, right? Game Use Giveaways. It's followed on Instagram if you don't already. Just sounds exactly, or spelled exactly how it sounds. One word: Game Use Giveaways on Instagram. And the first giveaway we did was in the Arizona Fall League, literally 2 days before we were leaving Arizona, and I was like, what am I going to do with all my gear? I know it was just a topic of conversation in the clubhouse, and so I figured, I was like, let me ask some guys, see if they would want to, if they would be interested in getting rid of, not getting rid of, but giving some of the gear that they were going to get rid of or throw away, sign it and send it to some fans. And literally every person that I asked was like, yes. And so I ended up with 34 yeses. And I was like, okay, well, now what? And it's kind of funny, but I ended up breaking it down by organization. So the Red Sox guys were grouped in one, and the Twins guys and the Dodgers and so on and so forth. And that worked. I mean, I was running around with my head cut off for a little bit there, but it worked to perfection. And then to follow that up with myself, Blaze Jordan, Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, in partnership with Bat Boys Baseball on Instagram. That was just, that was an incredible jump in terms of just audience size, right? Like that's just an incredible audience size between Bat Boys with 150K on Instagram. Blaze is probably 110K. Roman, Marcelo, obviously, maybe in the 5 digits follower counts. So it's just a big audience. But I'm learning that a lot of my teammates, a lot of these players, we're in the same boat. Like we whenever we're at a game and fans are asking, hey, can we get your glove? Hey, can we get your bat? And we can't give it to them in the moment because we're like, dude, we need this. Like we're on the road, right now. Like we have to use this. You know what I mean? Like we're not just flush with all of this gear. But then to be able to circle back and say, okay, I'm done using it. Now I'm willing to give it away. It's just been I've gotten incredible feedback, not only from the fans, but just from my teammates of how excited they are to do that. Because then they get the story, they get the video of the mom who won a Nathan Hickey signed bat and got to give it to her son, and her son, she sent us a video of her son up in arms, just can't believe it. Excited.
Can you imagine being a kid getting something like that?
Yeah.
That's the sort of thing that you don't forget about ever.
Definitely. So there was probably an element of Roman, Blaze, Marcelo saying like, oh yeah, CT's my friend, like I can help him out. But there's also more so of an element of we care about our fans, and we like making kids' days. And so they're probably doing it more for that reason than just because of our personal connection.
No, I was gonna say I know you saw it, Ed, in Worcester at the end of the year. I don't
Oh,
remember
where it looked where it looked like a zombie horde trying to bust onto the field to take all the gear. Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Fitzgerald is he got a key to the city in Worcester. Ryan Fitzgerald, I've never seen kids gravitate more to an athlete at any level. Well,
Really?
I guess I can't say the major league level, but minor league level.
They love him. They
love
not just the kids too. Just there's a real connection between him and the city of Worcester. Like it's really cool. It's something that I think you only really see in minor league ball too, where it's just that connected to it. But I'll let you finish there.
No, I was just gonna say I remember when he would go down the tunnel every time after a game. There'd be so many kids being like, "Can I have your bat? Can I have your cleats? Everything?" And he's kind of like, I saw the look in his face, and he's just like, "I would love to give that to you right now, but I have a game tomorrow. That he's got to play in." So at the end of the season, he just brought out this big tub of just all his stuff throughout the year, and he was just signing it and all of it was gone within about 3 minutes. And it's just like, It's incredible, man. Like what you're doing with game use stuff is just, it's
a
awesome.
lot of people's years.
Yeah. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to ask you real quick, because you've mentioned him a couple times, and I know you guys are friends, but Blaze Jordan has been really documenting a lot of his off season, just, the programs that he's on. He had that whole really, I thought very brave being so public with his mental health struggles. How's he doing? And did he ask you at all about just like how you've been, like how to utilize social media and everything, or has this been something that's been more he's been figuring it out on his own?
I don't know if you've seen Blaze's follower counts, but I'm probably learning more. I'm learning more from him than he's probably learning.
That's true.
Me.
I always forget that he was that kid that was posting those videos on YouTube.
No, dude,
I had forgotten.
Blaze has it down. Blaze has it down. In fact, whenever I have a question about social media, I call him and ask him. But no, dude, I'm a big Blaze Jordan fan. Obviously, I'm his friend and teammate. But just I'm a fan. And I've been following what he's been doing on social media. Obviously, I know he's a busy guy, so I'm not trying to take up too much of his time. I know how it goes. But to see really the message that he's sending is, it's heartwarming, it really is. And to see somebody kind of with his platform have the courage to be so public about it is it's encouraging, because I know it's making an impact, and you probably can't measure it. It's not something that you can quantify, but you just know that it is. So really happy for what he's doing for him, everything he's got going on. And again, I'll say, beyond being a teammate, beyond being a friend, I'm a fan.
While we're on the teammate train, I have one last question regarding a teammate, and I'm going to need you to defend the wall here, CT. We had a Portland teammate of yours appear on our podcast probably a month or two ago, and your name was brought up, and he said, and I quote, "Troy is the most Texan Californian he's ever met," and that you came around on Whataburger, and I need to hear your side of this. Do you know which teammate it was?
Yeah, without a doubt, Hunter Dobbins. Big Red, dude. And no, I got to be very clear. Let's see. Let me gather my thoughts for a second.
I know I put you in a spot right here, but
no, you're good. So I will say this. I will say that while I do like Whataburger, and I think that Whataburger is absolutely delicious, and they offer an incredible menu, I don't think that you can compare it to In-N-Out. So when he says that I came around on Whataburger, I was never against Whataburger. I was always on the position that you cannot compare Whataburger to In-N-Out, that they're just two completely different I don't know what you want to call them, fast food restaurants, but they're too different to compare. I would compare Whataburger to McDonald's, and that's And I think it's
wow.
That gets a reaction, huh?
The Donnie's Steakhouse.
No, Whataburger is way better than McDonald's, and I'll say that. But I feel like that's a more fair comparison than Whataburger and In-N-Out.
I'm going to be honest, and Hunter would not be happy with me. In-N-Out's much better. I've had there was when I was at ASU, there was an In-N-Out and there was a Whataburger right there. I think I went to the Whataburger twice. And it's just not because Whataburger was bad. It's just why would you have a hamburger when the sirloin steak is right there?
Couldn't agree more.
Just know I'm gonna clip this and I am gonna send it to Hunter.
That's fine.
And then I'm gonna have him respond. But
he knows my stance.
Man, to Donnie's Steakhouse, you put it on that level, man. That's something.
You disagree?
Why do you think he called you? Was it just the Whataburger thing? Why he called you the most Texan Californian?
No, he probably called me the most Texan Californian because I would say I'm probably fiscally conservative, and I do complain a lot about California taxes. To my good friend Hunter, who
I'm sure he loves that.
I mean, yeah, dude, he shows in after watching the news, giving a headline, he says something, fires me up. The next thing I know, we've got a clubhouse wide political debate going on.
Oh man,
but no, dude, it's fun. It's all. I mean, I think in my mind, to get a little bit more serious for a second, in my mind, there's two ways. There's two ways to exchange ideas. There's debating about ideas, and then there's just using physical force to force somebody, whether they believe in your idea or not, to get on board with your idea. So between those two options, and maybe there's a third option that I'm not missing, that I'm not seeing, that I'm missing. Between those two options, I think public discourse is probably the by far, the best way to go about it. And I think today too, where the political climate is really just negative, and in my opinion, I would say very close-minded, very tribal. It's rare to find somebody that likes what both sides are doing or something from both sides. It's rare for somebody to not identify with a side, and maybe this is a little bit different for my generation with the advent of media and politics going the algorithmic, let me hack your sociology, let me hack your physiology route. But I think it's important, and I think it makes for a good clubhouse when you're able to have those kinds of conversations, those tough conversations, and to still respect each other and to still have each other's back, even with differing views.
Yeah, and actually to just be able to communicate these. That's something that I am. This is. I know this isn't like a baseball thing or anything, but it's become, politics have become so, I call it football, the footballization of politics, because it's just our team versus your team, and it's so infuriating and so frustrating, because it's not what it's. I don't know when this happened. I don't know if it's like a generational thing, but it is very frustrating, and it's very difficult. I have family members that are completely on the opposite side from me, like how I am politically, but it's like, what am I gonna love them less just because of that? I have friends that are, and you're not gonna learn about that side if you're not open to listening to them either. So I just, that's actually kind of nice to hear that you guys can do that, and it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. So I think the most Texan Californian probably comes from my disdain from the 13% state income tax that California has. So instead of 33% tax, you're getting almost half taxed. But I told Dobbins that we make up for it in the sunshine and the weather. I said, enjoy. I told him to enjoy the Dust Bowl, the highlands of the West Texas, dude, greatest place in America.
Have you gotten on to him?
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna just end it on a Dobbins thing. Have you gotten on to him for his Dr. Pepper?
No. I think that's part of what makes him him, and I mean, who am I to judge?
I like it. Grant Gamble spilled the beans on what his pregame meal was, and I messaged him afterwards like, dude, you're out there shoving for 7 innings, and you're like on 5 gallons of Dr. Pepper, man. I love it, to be honest.
I'm more impressed that he doesn't throw up. Like that's incredible to me.
And that's why but we did make a big step forward. So I will never tell him not to drink Dr. Pepper. But what I did tell him was to start mixing in a scoop of greens. So he started mixing in a scoop of greens with this pre-workout and some hydration packs to make the greens taste better. And, as far as I'm concerned, man, that's a step in the right direction.
All right, Ed, I'm sorry. I kept stepping on your toes there. You're good.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. I was just going to say, I think the most Texan Californian is because I could see in another life you being like the sheriff in a small town, having like the six
Was it the Toy Story costume?
Hat.
Yes.
No, I mean, now that you mention it, though, that is kind of a nice, that was a nice sneak peek of it, but like, no, you just have that cadence. I don't know. Like I could see you being in one of those old Westerns that my mom really likes to watch and being like the town sheriff.
I appreciate that. I think that's a compliment, right?
Oh, it's definitely a compliment.
You never know these days. That's funny.
It's where the
do you watch movies? Do you watch a lot of movies or anything like that?
I really don't. I don't really watch a whole lot of movies. Don't really watch a whole lot of TV shows. I watched Forgetting Sarah Marshall for the first time with my buddies behind me last night, and that was probably the first movie I watched in at least a few weeks.
How'd you like it?
I thought it was hilarious.
Good movie. I am a big. I think that's probably Jason Segel's best movie. I love the puppet musical at the end of it is
like
incredible. Legitimately one of the funniest things.
Dude, it's awesome. It's awesome. I was wildly uncomfortable in the beginning of that movie.
A lot of male nudity.
Yeah, I was wildly uncomfortable sitting with my friends on the couch, like 3 inches apart from each other.
What movie are you making me watch?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, "Did you haven't seen the movie before?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Turn it on." I'm like, maybe a mistake, but no, it was a good movie. It was a good movie.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're a kid and you're with your parents and you're watching a movie and there's like a little bit of nudity and you're like, oh man, that's like,
I don't know what to do right now. Yeah, your parents like close your eyes,
Yeah,
you're 12 years old, you're like this.
Like, I promise, Mom, it's not happening. All right, like
that's hilarious.
We're getting to that point of the show, CT.
Oh no,
you're a busy man, so we're not going to take up all night of your time here. But we
have an important question for you.
Here it is. Shoot. You get in your car, right? So you go outside, get in your car. You're going to let's just say this. Every single option is available for your choosing, and you want a fried chicken sandwich. Where are you going?
Chick-fil-A.
Let's go.
What are even my other options?
That's
whatever your heart desires.
It's acceptable, man. It's just not the right answer. But
what would you say?
It's Zaxby's.
Zaxby's. See, I don't know if we have Zaxby's around here. Actually, we'll look this up.
He's from Missouri, so they have stuff like that there. We didn't have Zaxby's in Boston, so
Zaxby's is a thing in the South, so you definitely don't have it.
Yeah, the nearest Zaxby's is 7 hours and 46 minutes away from me in Cedar City, Utah.
That is
all right. I got something.
So we know they have them in Utah.
When you get to Fort Myers and JetBlue, there is a Zaxby's right down the street, and Alex Manellis will be there every single day.
I've been there a few times with them.
I was gonna say, man, I've
been there a few times with them.
Okay,
Zaxby's is him and Tyler McDonough. They hit that almost routinely in spring training.
McDonough is going to be our next guest. We gotta get McDonough at some point because I need more Zaxby's guys. All right, that's what I will say. Penrod said there was an In-N-Out going in Idaho.
Really?
In his town. It was like
they got it in Idaho, but they don't have them up in the Northeast yet. That's
what I'm saying, man.
It's upsetting.
Must be a logistical thing.
We don't have Waffle House here either, for whatever reason. They're not none of the best cheap food places are here. It is what it is.
The Northeast. That's it's because you guys are bougie.
Too bougie for Waffle House.
Say that, man. I just moved to New Hampshire. It is not bougie up here, but
I'm kidding.
it's fun up here though. New Hampshire, I like it. It reminds me of Missouri a lot, so that's why I like it. But Ed, we're gonna empty the bench here. I have one last question. I don't know if you have one last question, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask this.
Yeah, I don't want this to end. Let's keep going. Let's keep it rolling.
All right. Well, I have one question, and then we'll shoot to Ed, and then we'll see how long. But
okay.
You were pretty vocal on Twitter when Twitter /X, what do you call it these days? When Chaim Bloom left the org and then they hired Craig Breslow. I didn't see, though, I was trying to look up earlier if you had said anything on the hire of Andrew Bailey. Have you had any thoughts about it? Have you gotten a chance to really look into anything with him yet?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the extent of my knowledge, what I think of as my knowledge. But I believe Breslow and Andrew Bailey have some history together.
Yep.
Don't know how much, don't know where. But I mean, haven't had any interactions with them. Haven't really done too much research into them. For me, it was in terms of the Chaim Bloom commentary. I felt like I had a personal connection with him. We had talked a few times, and he was chief of command when I got drafted and to the Red Sox organization. I'm obviously very blessed and very grateful to be in this org. But haven't done too much research on Breslow, haven't done too much research on Bailey, but from what it sounds like and what it seems like the organization's doing what's best for the organization. And if that's the direction that they're going and that's what they're doing, then I'm bought in. At the end of the day, I'm just get to the big leagues too. Once I'm in the big leagues, try to win some rings for the city of Boston. So I know that's what they're trying to do at the highest level. And I'm just trying to help them do it.
Ed is down there cheesing. I don't know.
No, I have a question. I have a question that's. I think it's funny that you met because I was going to mention the Bloom tweet that you wrote because I thought that was very well articulated. And I thought that you had you expressed your thoughts very well. You expressed the emotion of it. Do you read a lot? And if so, what writers do you like? What authors do you like?
Yeah, I read a ton. My good friend Jared behind me, you guys can see him cranking away right there. He actually, him and I just got a new book together. He ordered me a book 2 days ago. It's called The Anthology of Bology, Bology Srinivasan. It's written by Eric Jorgensen, or aggregated, I should say, by Eric Jorgensen. One of the most influential and impactful books I've read in my life. It was called The Navalmanac. And it's on a guy named Naval Ravikant, and Eric Jorgensen aggregated the book in Naval's favor, similarly to what he did with Bology. Bology was chief technical officer at I want to say Coinbase, one of those crypto firms. Don't quote me on it, but I just started reading it today. But yeah, I read a ton. Love reading. Probably the 3 most influential books in my life is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. That's kind of the book that started the self-education journey post-college for me. And then the Navalmanac, which is just a guide to health, wealth, and happiness. And then the third one's How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think I was born an introvert, born a shy kid. Didn't really particularly enjoy the spotlight. Was in chess club, was a classic kid with a lemonade stand. There's a story actually, like 4th grade, we had these Sutter Bucks. We'd get these Sutter Bucks for good grades, good activities. You guys can probably figure out what the dollars were. But anyways, there was like 3 pencils left, and so we could spend it in our classroom for pens, pencils, whatever we needed. There's 3 pencils left for my teacher, so I bought all 3 with my Sutter Bucks. And then when my classmates needed pencils, I just charged them double for the pencils. And that's a story that my mom loves to tell all the time. So, that's just, I don't know how to put it any other way. That's just kind of who I am. That's where I started. That's how I grew up. But in terms of communication skills, that was something that was definitely learned like I had to learn it, and I had to try to learn it, and I had to read, and I had to apply, and I had a lot of trial and error, a lot of awkward moments, and I still do. But I mean, it's just, for me, it just feels like reading just gives you the answers to the questions that you don't know how to answer.
Do you still play chess at all?
Oh yeah, we got a chessboard right there. I'm actually
yeah.
On the day. I want to say I'm 3-2 on the day, and having played Jared and Kevin Chandler. So I'm so happy you guys asked me that, because more times than not, I'm like 1-6 on the day. So you guys caught me on a good day. I'm feeling good about that. But yeah, I crushed chess. Love it.
There was like 2 years ago. There was chess was huge through the Woo Sox. There was like they were having tournaments there. It's, I remember Frenchie Cordero and Connor Wong were the two I remember were like really good at it.
Really? But, that was probably in coordination with Queen's Gambit. I know like the Queen's Gambit TV show really sparked or really reignited some interest in chess. And that's actually what reignited it for me. I actually only saw one episode, so
and you were like, "Oh man, but chess that was fun."
Well, I used to play competitively.
Did you? How old were you when you were doing that?
I probably stopped playing competitively like maybe 7th, 8th grade.
I used to do chess tournaments when I was a kid. Also, I think until I was around like 12 or 13. And,
yeah, that's probably
it was like you do that or you pick a sport to play, and I wanted to play sports, but. That's great that you got back into it, though. I know a lot of people that I would play with as a kid that just like I'm still friends with, and they just don't have any interest anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's, in my opinion, it's a good. It's like you can't feel guilty about using your time playing chess.
Now, do you do it with the timers, or are you like whatever? Like whatever.
So my friend Jared loves playing with the timer, and he actually plays with time odds against me. So there's a little asterisk next to my record today. But look, he hears me. I put the noise cancellation back on. But no, he's playing with time odds. I'm not going to tell you guys what the odds are because it'd make me look a lot worse than I care to say. But then I prefer to play without a timer. Or just like longer games, just because I feel like I have the space to really think things through. But him and I, it's funny actually because I'm just gonna spill the beans. He plays with 2.5 minutes on the clock. I play with 5, so there's time odds there. And I beat him twice today on time actually, meaning that he just like ran out of time. But I was in winning positions both times. Or maybe not the second. I can't really remember. Anyways, we played a game with no timer today, and he beat me. So fair and square. And that was with no timer. It's just absolute mental warfare. You think about each move. You think about every move that possibly could happen, what they would do in response to the move, and then what you would do in response to that. And you're trying to look 3, 4, 5 moves ahead. It's pretty mentally exhausting.
I think it can also take a toll on, like, you can overthink moves and then you have like a great setup and then you'll get in your own head and you won't do it because you'll think something else is going to happen even though it was like a very obvious move. So it's interesting the difference with the two, like when you do it. Now is he one of those like really intense, like when you hit the clock, like you really pound it?
As the clock winds down, it gets more intense for sure. But in the opening, we've got some openings memorized. We know what the best moves are, so you just kind of play through the first 4 or 5 moves, depending on what they play. Then whatever white plays, black plays, so on and so forth for the opening. So usually you hit the timer a little bit softer in those moments.
As the game goes on, it just starts to. Yeah. The enemy's just like punching the table.
No, that's exactly right. It's awesome though. But no, I mean, dude, chess just like in anything else, bro. You overthink it, and I think the good thing with chess, the thing that I like about chess specifically is you get such immediate feedback, especially when you're playing against really good players, right? Like if you overthink something, and you make a wrong move, like you are instantly humiliated for it, and like there's no hiding it. There's no like. It's just you weren't smart enough. Like it's literally just an attack on your intellect. And that's one of the good things I like about chess is it's just mental warfare. It's just one brain versus the other. Doesn't matter height, weight, genetic predisposition. And you're just using the utmost capacity that your brain will allow.
Well, I hope you guys know that chess is not a thing in Missouri. It's way over my head. They
more of a
don't.
checker stick.
Yeah, more of the Cracker Barrel checkers. You know,
that's a good chirp, Ed. That's a good chirp. I hope that doesn't go under.
I wasn't expecting that of
him. I like that.
Right.
I can get behind that. Yeah, hell yeah. That's a checker state, baby.
Yeah,
that's something to tell Dobbins, Texas. Texas is a checker state.
We'll take it. We'll take it. That's Missouri's not even south, but you know, we can handle that type of stuff. But how's your ping pong game?
I don't know, because the people that we have a ping pong table at my house, and my other brother Ryan, he's 21 years old. He's a senior at UC Santa Barbara playing baseball. He actually just had his 3rd scout meeting tonight, so I got to follow up with him, see how that went. But yeah, getting ready for his senior season. He is better than me, but I play him tough. I play him well, and I think that. Probably I like my odds against most people.
There's a reason why I asked that question. It's because the Woo Sox locker room has a ping pong table right in the middle of it.
No way.
And the games are some of the most intense things I've ever seen in my entire life. Like Steven Scott wouldn't even get in because Scotty's kind of over there and he's like, those guys are psychopaths and I'm not getting on that table. And I felt bad for Ryan Fernandez. He had the locker right at the foot of the table, and Nick Stilgard, all those guys would just start smashing those things, just whizzing by his head. Joe Jakes got hit a couple times before he went up. I'm like, dude, those guys are intense on that table, and you're going to have to be on that at some point.
I can tell you right now, I will be waiting for the invite, because if I show up day one, like, hey, who wants to play ping pong? I know I'm going to get embarrassed.
Yeah, Nick Stilgard has his own paddles. I know Dahlbeck had his own paddles. Fitzgerald did. Is like I said, Scotty of all people was like, there's no way in hell I'm getting over there. I'm going to do my crossword puzzles at my stall and just be Steven Scott. You know, like I love him, but it's intense, man. You got to get the ping pong game up if you're going to be in the Woo Sox locker room. It's a heck, Ed. It's a spectacle to watch.
It's competitive.
I appreciate the scouting report.
It's fun to watch.
Have to brush up.
It is fun to watch because AJ Politi is a silent assassin on the table.
Really?
You know, Shug calls him a mental midget on the table, but that's a combo for another day. But
that's hilarious.
Well, Ed, emptying the bench. I know he said he wants us to keep going, but I know you're a busy man. Your guy back there has been writing and erasing so much stuff. And it's like, this guy is doing work back there. It's like it's 9:00 on the East Coast, and my man's still full of work right now. But
yeah, man, we got another work sprint in us before we head to bed.
Exactly. Ed, emptying the bench here. What do you got?
Empty it on the bench. All right. What do you have for you've got a month left of the year, basically. Is there anything left that you need to accomplish, or are you set? You set for the year?
Yeah. So, dude, you got some good questions, man. Especially on the spot like that too. That's incredible. Let's see. I'm reporting to Fort Myers January 7th, which is early, especially with November 11th. Arizona Fall League end date. So that puts me at, 7 weeks. 7 weeks total off season. And the number one priority for me this off season is to get my body in a position to go through another year, right? Like over the course of the year, a lot of wear and tear. At the end of it, your body's, for me, I get a little bit fatter, lose a little weight, and get a little bit fatter. So just trying to put back that muscle, stay mobile, and all of those things essentially lead to my health, right? So like I'm doing those things for my health. So number one, first and foremost, get myself in the best position to be healthy. And I feel like I had a healthy season this last year, with the exception of being on a 7-day IL. I don't know, sometime in July, maybe in Portland. With the exception of that, like I was healthy all year, which really, really, truly thankful for that. That was the healthiest season I've ever had. So number one, prioritize my health, getting ready for this upcoming spring training. Number two, throwing program starts back up this next week. So get the arm right, get the arm body right, get in a position to really excel this year. And then beyond baseball activity, right? So, I mean, that's just eat well, sleep well, work out hard, and stay mobile, and continue to do the things that I know that lead to success in my pitching career. So that's first and foremost, and always is and always will be, right? Like I feel like everything I do off the field is secondary to what I do on the field. And that's where my focus is. So off the field, though, what I need to accomplish this off season is I need to rebuild my systems, right? So each year I build systems for every endeavor that I'm doing. How do I systematize my work? How do I delegate? How do I automate as much tasks as possible? Free up my plate as much as possible. As long as there's margin between what you can get it done for and doing it yourself, then it's a good investment, in my opinion, because it frees up time for me to just do nothing sometimes. Sometimes doing nothing for me is what I need to do in season. But every year, without fail, my systems will break, and then I will rebuild systems. And each year, the systems get better than the year prior. And then that sustains another season of growth. And then my business endeavors grow. And then my systems break again. And then I got to rebuild the systems again. So in terms of what I'm really, really working towards this offseason from a business perspective is rebuilding my systems and rebuilding them to a point to sustain where I currently am. That way we can grow and break the systems again.
Got to break it to build it back up stronger.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly.
CT, it's been real, and we'll definitely let you get back to work. And your guy, like you said, your guy's back there right now, just writing. This guy has filled up the entire board. It's reminding me of the movie, the Robin. I'm very on Boston for this. It's the Robin Williams.
Oh, Good Will Hunting. I haven't even seen Good Will Hunting, and I know that.
You know what's funny is, first of all, Good Will Hunting is probably my favorite movie of all time. Not a big movie watcher, one of my favorite movies. But what's coincidental is I had a fan, I forget the name of the handle, but they responded to one of my tweets with a quote from Good Will Hunting, and this is today, if not yesterday. And he said, "I got to go see about a girl." So I immediately recognized the Good Will Hunting quote, which I felt pretty proud of, because typically when people give me movie quotes, I'm like, doesn't hit home for me. But no, Good Will Hunting did probably my favorite movie of all time.
I don't know how the hell I couldn't think of that. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just noodle brain right now. That's very un-Boston to me. And if Ed said he's never seen that movie before, is that what you actually said?
Yeah, no, I haven't. But I mean, I know, I feel like I've heard so many quotes from it, and so many movies been described to me so many times. Like I've kind of seen it by osmosis, but no, I do need to at some point. Just
by osmosis.
Yes. One of Robin Williams' best. I'm still not over the Checkers comment, but we'll be okay on that. But all right, so CT, just to end it on you, I'm gonna leave you with the homework assignment. Not really like something that you gotta like do, but just something if you ever have some free time, look into it. But
okay.
The Woo Sox just hired a new bullpen coach, Noah Junis. He's the brother. Junis. He's the brother of Jacob Junis, who pitched for the Giants last year. He's a Missouri kid. All right. So I think you're going to like him a lot. You're probably going to be working with him once you get down to the complex. I think he's told me yesterday that he's like in the process of moving. He's going to be living in Worcester, obviously, but he's going to be down in the Fort probably around the same time you are. Definitely look him up. And he is a great pitching mind. He's been at Premier Pitching in St. Louis for, gosh, it seems like since I was young, but he's a young guy too. So that's all I had for you. But
that's exciting. I look forward to meeting him.
Yeah, he's any guy I've talked to that's worked with him. All the St. Louis pitchers that come out of St. Louis, like Tanner Houck, Michael Plasmeyer. I mean, I'm missing probably not like the Scherzers, but I'm missing a lot of names. But everybody said good things about him. So, all right, Christopher Troye, it's all we had for you. You gave us an hour of your time, and we appreciate you coming on for part 2 of this. So, thank you so much,
Andrew Parker. It's been an absolute pleasure, my man.
Always a pleasure having you,
yes,
man.
sir. No, this is good time, boys.
Hell yeah.